Hello viewer, welcome to this special broadcast brought to you by the concerned people of Enugu State. On this show today we will discuss the administration of His Excellency Barrister Ndi Peter Mbah, the Executive Governor of Enugu State. In the last 24 months plus, he has been steering the ship of Enugu State through several projects. Some persons have praised and some others have knocked him. We have a guest today who would help us to unpack some of his projects, especially flagship projects as it relates to the smart schools, the smart hospitals, and the digital projects that he has embarked upon. I have my co-host and a guest.
Yes, dear viewer, it's a pleasure to have you join us. Thanks for being up.
Recently, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, had said that he was tapping into the digital economy by the federal government. As a matter of fact, he mentioned that the states championed by the youth would in no time start competing with their counterparts in different parts of the world owing to his plans and programs in the digital space. How true is this? And we have with us live in the studio Chukwunoye, who is a public affairs commentator. Chukwunoye, good to have you.
My pleasure to be here, Charles.
I don't know how you have seen his administration, especially as it concerns the digital economy that he claims that the Enugu youths are actually embarked upon.
Thank you very much. The governor had an interesting agenda for digitization of Enugu, but unfortunately, most of his projects on that angle has come to be on the level of superficiality. He came out with an interesting program of doing 260 smart schools across all the 260 wards in Enugu State. The smart school concept is an interesting one, but unfortunately it is not layered on a solid foundation. You cannot begin digital literacy program by abandoning over 1,200 primary schools, public primary schools, and 300 public secondary schools. You don't force somebody into digital literacy overnight. The ground must be prepared. You prepare it from your government. You prepare it across ministry, department, agencies of government. It has not been prepared. Could you believe that as simple and as easy as websites are, the ministry, department and agencies of government do not have any websites? The local government areas, they don't have websites. And you want to digitize Enugu without these fundamentals being in place. You've not been able to digitize the Ministry of Education that is supposed to carry this, your digital school concept. The Post-Primary School Management Board does not have a functional website. Post-Primary Secondary Management Board does not have a functional website. So how would you want to digitize the whole state overnight when the fundamentals are not in place? It is always the challenge of persons that believe that top-down approach is the best way to go about things. And it is modeling things up, making a whole lot of things difficult. Now you are building the schools. You've not yet built the schools, but you have already given it the toga, the name of a smart school. A building under construction cannot be called a school, not to talk about calling it a smart school. It becomes smart school when it is fully equipped, when it is fully functional, when the teachers are trained, when the necessary infrastructure, digital infrastructure are in place. But as I speak with you, none of these things are in place. And you are still marketing this project as a smart school concept that you are trying to embark on. It doesn't jive. It doesn't work that way. Until the fundamentals are in place, there is nothing like that. So I will tell you, this is concept of a Enugu digitization, digital economy is a hoax. It's like a digital fraud that does not have foundation anywhere. Because as we speak, none of those schools have been completed. Only very few. When you have 260 and you could not be able to account for 10% after 24 months, will you call it a project? All of them are under construction. If we cannot say 26 of those schools have been completed, 26 out of 260 is even a failure of a colossal magnitude. But you keep on going everywhere, say that you are digitizing Enugu, you are doing that in Enugu, you are running a digital economy. Whereas the basic things that are supposed to be there are not on ground. So we have a challenge with that. As novel as the concept is beautiful, but it is something that has to be done in a graduated manner, because you are moving people from a non-digital academic background to a digital academic background at the level of the public schools. Because I can tell you, over 80% of the private schools in Enugu are already doing the smart school concept. He is very much interested in. They have AI, they have machine learning labs, they have robotics labs. But the public schools, it is not in existence. So it will have been a gradual thing. Not to talk about power. Power is a problem. How are you going to power those schools? The roofs of the ones that have been covered does not have a solar panel on them. The local government education authorities do not have a functional website where you will be able to say, these are the number of schools in this local government area. These are the number of teachers in these local government areas. So spending money on PR, on showmanship, on branding, on trying to run Enugu like a company will not work. And we cannot be bamboozled. Neither can the people of Enugu be confused. So the global community should know that all those things His Excellency, Governor Peter Mbah, is saying in Enugu is just in the conjecture and the realms of imagination for now, because they are not on the ground. From within local government area down to any local government area, from Isuzo to Zowani, it has always been pain. If election were to be held today in Enugu State, I can bet you it's going to turn out to be a woeful appearance by him. The government of Peter Mbah came with high expectations that is going to digitize affairs of governance and government in Enugu. It came and gave Ndi Enugu a high promise of water, that is going to give them water in 180 days, that are going to see smart schools everywhere, that are going to see wonderful health infrastructure, that are going to see what is lacking to what we have in Western Europe. But unfortunately for him, not for the people, because the people have already donated their vote to him. Section 14, subsection 1, made it clear for the people to donate their vote to whosoever they so desires. Never accomplished that. 14.3 said that there is guarantee for them to participate. They participated. But number 2 is where the government of the day has failed them. Inability to protect them by providing them security and welfare. Welfare is so much. Welfare, if you unpack it, you have health, you have roads, you have water, you have transparency, you have accessibility, you have communication with the government that you are supposed to be beholden to. But it is unfortunate that what they received is demolition. It started by demolishing their businesses. An entrepreneur of that level demolished people's businesses. That you are making way for a transport terminal. A transport terminal. Government is supposed to do with strategic planning, deep thinking, relating with the people. He demolished their businesses at Ogige Market in Soka. 4,000 people became unemployed overnight. Over 50 people died. Those that did not die are suffering from paralysis of stroke. Those that their health is still intact. Unfortunately for them, suddenly, somebody who was doing well is now begging for.
But they said he paid compensation to these people whose shops were demolished. I understand you're talking about the 4 different areas. Holy Ghost, we're talking about Abapa and the likes. So he paid compensation to these people, even though, yes, some persons are still complaining that they've not received any compensation, but a significant amount of persons said they have received compensation in that regard, and they were duly communicated.
He did not pay them compensation. Compensation when you properly assess what you destroyed. And the assessment should not be done by you. You bring in Nigerian Institute of State surveyors and valuers. They will value it. He's a professional. You bring professionals into it. They'll quantify it. And you'll be able to bring out a figure. We know how much a petrol station costs. How much did he give to Onitsha South? You know how much constructing a warehouse cost? How much did he give to Igwe within Gov Mbah? We used to have a 6 flat there. It's owned by the Igwe within Gov Mbah. It was demolished. And I know a whole lot of things are still happening around there. It is not his character to compensate. Then let me talk as it relates to me. My mother has shops at Gariki Market. Gariki Market is a government market. The government technically forced them 40 years ago to move to Gariki. After Konano Market, that is the name. They were coming to trickles because the place was dry. They are business women. They cannot move their shops to a place where you don't have population. But along the line, they had to move. That was old Enugu local government area. Their shops were demolished in Gariki. My mother, it pained her, may her soul rest in peace. She was pained because she knew how she was able to gather money to pay for that. I still called her Mamo. The governor said that she's going to pay people compensation. That we are going to come to Ministry of Lands to submit the documents there. My mom says she's not going. That this man cannot do it. That he demolished their shops without consulting them. That such a person does not have capacity to compensate. She told me this is where the documents are. I should go with my hand, that she's not going to bring it out for me. I went into where she showed me, brought out some documents. When I got to Ministry of Lands, they asked for a particular year. I called on the phone. I said, can she please go to that place and give the documents to my younger one, my younger cousin at home? She said that she told me that she's not going to touch that document, that this man will not do nothing. Very prophetic. I personally submitted those documents at Ministry of Lands. 24 months down the line, the governor has not done anything.
You just made reference to your mom and you said, "Man, so rest in peace."
Yes.
And this is what happened recently.
Well, she's not died out of that. You will not know what killed anybody. But I knew that the hospital, after a while, although she has been having one or two challenges.
But certainly her death is not as a result.
No, it's not connected to it.
Okay.
It is not connected to it.
Okay.
But I submitted those documents 24 months. He's not talking to any of them. These are women of means. We are entrepreneurs. A shop, you know how much it costs, and you demolish people's shop. She has 2, some have 5, some have 10, and you crushed it overnight, and you say you are doing a digitized government, whereas you are turning people into beggars overnight, burdens of pain and sorrows. That you are doing what? That thing that is there. I encourage Ndi Enugu to visit the so-called terminals. There is no clinical finishing there. He would have told them it's a work in progress like every of his work. I talk what I know. Holy Ghost is over there. Go there and see whether that's how to build a terminal. Okay, you built it, clean it up. And you are selling a shop there 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, but you demolish people's shops. You did not give them alternative market. You did not build any market for them. Obweta has been around for how many years? Obweta has been there since late 60s. Up to today, Obweta is breaking at his seams, and you don't know that economic development is connected to market development. Does he need anybody to tell him that? How many markets do we have in Enugu? Obweta new market and Gariki market. One down. Gariki has gone out of the picture. So where do you think that the remaining people are doing their businesses? And you are still collecting money from them on the road. New market is new market. When old Obweta got burnt some years ago, they were moved to new market as a makeshift. No government in Enugu State had rebuilt new markets. The place that is supposed to be the transport terminal of Enugu, they've converted it to an estate. That is Diamond Estate. That is the original city map of this town. as enunciated by M.I. Obara and Obabiaseka. They turned it to an estate. It's always about the bourgeoisie. So the proletariat, the average masses of Enugu does not have any stake in governance of any type. Why would it be so? Why wouldn't he go to Diamond State and demolish that place? Because you must revert it to original city plan. The city plan is that place was designated, and Sullivan was on the verge of trying to do that when his administration expired. Okay. Today, some rich persons are living there, and now those that you did not give shops, you are overburdening them with taxation. Taxation on all fronts.
We'll come to that taxation level. The fact remains that just like Charles made mention of the fact that we had a compensation were paid. But I understand how you feel and how you react because you were directly affected. But then, you're a professional, you know how these things work. Wouldn't there be price for development? I mean, looking at the terminal, what went down for the terminals to be erected? Wouldn't there be room, space for price for development? You're
right. There should be price you pay for development, but it must be graduated and properly arranged. We are not looking for land in Enugu. That is the truth of the matter. There are places you will have put those facilities. If it must be there, show them an alternative. That is the point. Government is for the people, not for you. You are doing it on their behalf. You engage them, you communicate with them, you interact with them, you hear their voices. But none of those were done, and you went ahead. How can you tell somebody that you want to give him fried rice, but his need is fufu? Convince him that fried rice is better than fufu, or either give him the fufu he is requesting for and still provide the fried rice you think is better for his nutritious upkeep. But you went ahead. That is what I call the democratic tyranny. You don't do that. You don't try to be autocratic in a democratic setting. We've long passed this level. You don't do that. Engage, interact.
Before we leave this issue of the terminals now and the pulling down of people's businesses to erect terminals, the CNG buses are in town. You're aware?
Yes.
And these CNG buses will not just ordinarily be making use of the usual local motor parks. So I think it's an upgrade that we're looking at terminals. And then strategic places like, the Holy Ghost, I think there are two of them there. Yeah. One for local routes coverage and then one, going outside Enugu. Nsukka is very key. Is an upcoming, I think the next after Enugu urban in terms of economy. Gariki, well, and then Abakwa. So with the CNG buses introduced, it's no way welcomed idea that we should have these terminals in place,
Yeah, it's like you're not getting me. No, there's nothing wrong in terminal. But the real people that are going to be consumers of the terminal have been dislocated permanently for life. A lot of them has died. There's nothing you can use to equate life. If you must build that terminal there, find a place and provide for them. That is the point I'm trying to make, which he has refused to even understand. That is, if it must be that place that you build the terminal, then point to a place where Igbo said, if you say I'm not going to sit here, tell me where I'm going to sit. Okay, no problem, I'm not going to sit here. You want me to be standing? You've taken away my seat from me. Provide an alternative. That is the point I'm making. The CNG buses, as a matter of fact, was 5 billion naira the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria gave to states when subsidy was removed. They will not tell you that, but I'm telling it to you people. 5 billion naira, that was the 5 billion naira for the whole state. That is the state of the federation.
To do what now?
To use to alleviate the pains of subsidy removal. Enugu believe that buying these buses is what they will use to alleviate the pains. Now you bought the CNG buses. Federal government and some states have bought their CNG buses from NOC, and they are collecting tax from NOC, and you did not buy from NOC. And you took the money from Nigeria, given to Enugu State people, to China. But there is a man at your backyard that is providing similar services, but you did not give it free to buy from NOC. That is what we call capital flight. That is what we call deepening unemployment in your environment. Now you've gotten the CNG buses. Why is it not flying? Have you asked yourself why it's not flying?
Maybe he's fixing the roads.
It cannot fly because there are no stations where they have a model station by Greenville at Ugu
Onyama, yes.
But there are no daughter stations. So why would you bring something that people will not be able to patronize because it is not available? How many CNG stations have you seen in Enugu? Okay, that's why it's still parking in Obara Square. And until modern stations are built, it will still park there for a very long time.
Right, so a whole lot of development has happened in Enugu State.
Yes.
Part of them is 260 smart schools, 260 PHPs,
yes,
as the primary health centers.
Type 2.
The type 2 centers, 260 farm estates.
Yes.
These are the things that are still ongoing. We've also seen that in some part of Enugu State, in fact, talking about the governor's own community, the school has, been in use. Other schools will come on board this particular September. That's just next month. But I'm wondering, do you score him high in these areas?
Smart school is the flagship infrastructure project of this government. But unfortunately for us, it was not properly thought through. If you look at the population of every community, can it carry this? You look at the distance between one community to another. Some wards have 4 communities. God bless our forefathers. You see, one thing is to be brilliant and that is to be intelligent. They were able to democratize education. But a man who said that he's intelligent is centralizing it. Do you know some smart schools are 11-kilometer radius from where the children are going to access it? Now, this is rainy season. How would they be going to school? When they get to school, they will be exhausted. The food they ate in the morning must have expired. They will start resting before starting their class.
That's the reason why the 260 was established for each ward. So
that's what I'm trying to tell you. For each ward.
Because
now,
the ward is supposed to be the closest political unit.
That is what you think. Because that's why I'm talking. I'm a politician. For instance, in my community, where it is being built, the closest there is my own village. But in that my village, the farthest is like almost 6-7 kilometers to trek children between 6 years to 11 to access education. But they have primary schools nearby that our forefathers created for them to be close. The idea of smart school, unfortunately, was not properly conceived. You say you want to do digital training. It will have been a center of excellence, one per local government. Now, the money that you are wasting in the smart school is not really a smart school now because they are building under construction. It can only be smart school when it is put in use. So the so-called smart school is not really being used. The edifice is very humongous. Is it primary school? Is it nursery? Is it secondary? The smart school, are there 3 different categories of education?
No, it's going to be accommodating from 3 years
Thank you.
Age
We don't ask questions here. Why would a section of the school will be for primary, another section for secondary, the other one for kindergarten?
That's
without properly fenced.
The basic.
Thank you. It doesn't work that way.
Junior class.
No, we have secondary education separate from primary from nursery. Disaggregate this thing, you are collapsing them. A smart school that you are building that is not fenced. A smart school that the pipeline that is supposed to be teachers are not there. We don't have digital teacher training college anywhere in Enugu. So how would they be taught? Teachers of that high caliber, where will they live? You don't have training quarters for them, staff quarters for them, for the people that are going to manage the school.
Have you been around any of this?
Yes, I'm talking from experience.
Because we understand from the government side, we understand they said
1, the smart school will accommodate the teachers.
Yes.
They said the provision is there. 2, they said there's going to be a feeding program for the students. If we're talking about hunger.
Yes.
And 3, they said they're going to provide transportation system for the students to convert them to and through.
Let's start from 1. There is no provision. The ones that are built now, there is no place for teachers to live. The one in
my village, there is no provision for teachers to live. There is no farm there. You are calling it smart green school. Ordinary solar panel on the roofs, you did not put it. And you're saying it's smart. The doors don't have sensor. You are saying it's smart. The windows are not smart. The doors are not smart. And you want to do an AI and robotics lab in such a school. And you are voting 146 billion for it. And Katsina and the Lagos did similar to 100 million. Nobody knows how much these schools are costing. You hear 350 million, you hear 500 million, you hear 1.6 billion. Sujimoto came here. Why did Sujimoto not continue with the government? Nobody is telling us that. Sujimoto is a real estate developer in Lagos. He came here. They are good in optics, talking. They flew Sujimoto because it's a big real estate developer. When Sujimoto left Enugu, they didn't tell us why Sujimoto left. There are no consulting engineers in the so-called buildings they are putting on. They compromise school fields. Who does that? Physical education and the mental education go hand in hand. Almost all the smart schools were built at the center of school fields that communities use for their social function. What does it tell you? They have compromised sports. They are not interested in sports development at grassroots. Where would these children play football? Where are they going to run around? You've compromised it. You gave it to political cronies. There are no consulting engineers there. The people supervising the projects are people that read curriculum education. They don't even understand what they are doing. Then wait, the project itself should have been inspected by Ministry of Works that have engineers. But I can tell you that Ministry of Work professionals are not inspecting the schools. And that's why they involve local government chairmen. They are doing this half measure. You sit down. In project management, you see the end of a project from the beginning. You think it through. As the project is moving, you will be reflecting back to see whether it is in tandem with the original conceptualization. That is how they run a project. How can you do such a school? It is not fenced. In fact, the challenge of that school started from the architectural design. It is defective. It's like what do they call it? The kind of stadia they used to have in old ancient Italy, where they normally do bull fights.
But then I think as a result of the fact that they have a monitor supervision team, that was what led to the demolition of one of the smart school projects ongoing somewhere in Isuzu, that they discovered that the contractor actually cut corners. So are you saying they don't have qualified hands for monitoring supervision?
Do you know how much has been lost by that collapse they called the demolition?
Yeah, but the contractor is going to be held responsible.
That is what they are telling you. You see, plan a project through. Let the consulting engineer ask every stage of the project. We are using substandard material because nobody is inspecting anybody. How can you leave a project to get to that level? You say it was when it collapsed that they brought in demolition. It is typical of all their projects, not only smart school.
So what do you think the Commissioner for Works is doing there then? Because it's part of it.
The politics involved does not allow him as a professional to be involved. You can investigate this, you're a journalist. If he were to be involved, he knows what he would have done. But this man is a micromanager. He does not allow. Have you? The commissioners are not really working because you can never allow them to work. You don't hear their names anywhere. You hear the SSG, governor, chief of staff, some few people. But how many persons that are supposed to man ministry have you heard their names? And that is why we are having this colossal waste. Who is going to be responsible for the collapse? Amabuna Tachi collapsed the other day, and they tweaked it. The President General got across to us. In fact, the President General, if you search the media, there was a letter he posted there. He collapsed. Amamunato Ward 2 at Chuno. He collapsed. You don't know how many that have such cracks. Their integrity, okay, they are doing integrity tests. Let them publish the ones they've done. Let us see. Who is even conducting the test for them?
Welcome back. You're watching this special broadcast brought to you in collaboration with the people and indigenous, special people and indigenous of Enugu State. And we are talking about Enugu State in the last 2 years under His Excellency Dr. Ndi Peter Mbah. And we have been talking to Chukwuneye Okereke, who is a public affairs analyst who is based in Enugu State and has been giving us an insight into what he has observed in the last 2 years under this administration. He left off with a conversation that we're having with him regarding the smart schools. Chukwunoye, I understand that you have really knocked the smart schools, but part of the reasons why the smart schools were, started in the first place, the governor said it, was because that is where the world is headed. And that if we have these smart schools and our kids are able to go through these schools, it'll be easy to connect with opportunities around the world. I mean, the person who grows up in Enugu can compete with someone who's grown in UK or maybe even in the United States. Not necessarily putting too much attention on the buildings per se, but what exactly that the kids can learn from that. Don't you think that embarking on this smart school project would be one of the best things that this administration or even the state government would actually achieve?
Thank you very, very much. We have 1,200 public schools in Enugu, primary schools. We have over 300 secondary schools. If he had decided that his interest is making them to be very digital, he would have started revamping existing schools by putting up one building. By now, they will have connected with the global community on digitization. It would have been the smartest thing that he would have done, but he has missed that opportunity. 1,200 schools. Those children by now will have laptops. You can buy it off. Putting up solar panels. People from that community will be contracted to do the solar panels. Or you bring in people that understand how to put off-grid electricity that will power those schools. That's what he will have done. It will have made the humongous amount that has been spent in putting up buildings diverted or channeled to these ones. Do you know in Enugu that there are a lot of schools that their buildings have been blown off by winds? Their roofs have been blown off by wind. Do you know that there are schools that they don't have desks? Do you know they don't have, some of the schools they don't have chalkboard? Do you know that the primary and secondary school teachers, their welfare is still being challenged? These are a plethora of issues that is burdening primary and secondary schools in Enugu that has not been attended to. And you are channeling resources to some things that cannot be finished in next 2 years. He said they are going to start school in September. What is still holding them to give us the percentage of the smart school that have been completed? It is 260. Has 10% of those schools been completed? 10% of 260 is 26, which is still a failure. If it's 20%, it's 46, which is still a failure. If it's 15%, we say it is fair, because we've done 50. If he has done 50, that means we are talking about 130 schools. Have we seen 130 schools that are fully constructed, fully equipped, ready to fly?
Maybe when we get to September, we will be able to know. We'll now take a record, okay? We'll do record taking.
September is next month.
Yes, until we get there, because from what we've seen so far, we've seen that a good number of the schools, I may not be in a position to say this number or this percentage, but a good number of the structures are now set and ready.
You are not correct. How many?
Do you mean?
How many?
No, I may not be in a position to say this number.
If I understand them, these people like click lights. They like optics. They like media more than their life and governance. They would have started flying it everywhere. But if you look at their body language, they are more. They are not talking.
So we wait till September then? Shouldn't we be waiting for September to come?
September, today is August 1.
There's no problem.
September is next 30 days. And you cannot fully construct and equip in the next 30 days. It's an impossibility. You've not shown us at least 26 of those smart schools completed and fully equipped and ready to fly. He has been asking me about to give them to assess them by a scale of 10. In this smart school, he has scored a poor 2/10.
That's according to your.
That is they've given the assessment. It is according to me. For them, if you've not given me 10 to 20%.
Until September, we'll do another scorecard with the smart schools, and let's see what percentage are actually ready to run. This program will not be a success if we do not look at the health sector for these past 2 years, because health is wealth. So, what's your assessment? 260 Type 2 primary health centers in the state. We have an international hospital ongoing.
In 2023, when this government started, he inherited 566 primary health care centers in 17 local government areas of Enugu State. 47% of them are in state of disrepair, collapsed. They are not functioning, very dysfunctional. And I think the reasonable thing he will have done will have been revamping them, staffing them, equipping them. But they are still abandoned as we speak. And he started 260 projects that we don't understand their status across the 260 world. You see, he has a very high interest in trying to move Enugu State forward. But unfortunately for him, he's a very poor project manager. They don't do thorough assessments of what is happening. And as it stands now, Enugu health situation is in comatose. Parkland, for instance, walk into Parkland healthy, come out from Parkland sick because of obvious challenges in Parkland. Staffing, equipping them, providing necessary things for them. What he will have still done is doing 17 general hospitals across board. Local government chairmen that have been receiving between 400 million, 500 million every month will have done the primary health care facilities in their wards. It becomes the responsibility of the local government to completely execute that one. But unfortunately, what we have is flying the completion of a project, hospital project at Rangers Avenue, that Chimaroko Bunyan started, that successive PDP government refused to complete. Sullivan saw it, abandoned it. Buruburu did not do anything 16 years, and Peter Mbah is doing it. And people say he really tried by doing it. Why wouldn't he try by doing it?
Why would he try doing it?
The man that brought him into governance. You see, he will keep on telling you that he's not a politician. Chimoro Kendaman is his boss. His boss made him Commissioner of Finance when he was a governor. His boss, Chimoro Kendaman, made him Chief of Staff. He's making the Enugu to feel that he does not have a boss. I can tell you clearly that his boss drafted him to become the governor of Enugu State when he floated a banner for Buruburu, which was used as a platform, political rapprochement to convince Buruburu to support him when Buruburu was dilly-dallying.
Does that have anything to do with the international hospital being built by?
Exactly. You are boss. You must try to do some things. His boss, Chimaroke is his boss. His boss built it, and he was Commissioner of Finance that signed out some money for the construction of that project. And he saw some letters when he was Chief of Staff towards that same project. And what he's doing, yes, he did well. But he should try and be giving kudos that I'm completing a project started by a previous government. Because as of now, he does not have any project he says he has started from the scratch. So we'll give him 50% kudos of doing that. For doing that, and 50% kudos for the man who conceptualized the idea 25 years ago.
But was not completed.
Yes, now it's a continuity. PDP government does not. You see, the problem with PDP is that each administration that comes try to start a project afresh. That's why I'm giving you kudos. And the kudos I'm giving is that because it's coming from the tributary of a boss that brought him into this game.
But that project will not be for Chimaroke, it will be for Ndi Enugu.
Chimaroke never built it for himself.
It's an international hospital.
Exactly.
That's going to serve even the entire country.
Exactly. Chimaroke conceptualized it and he's completing it. I say I gave him kudos for that. But in the whole infrastructural hemisphere of Enugu State, he's scoring very low. Polyclinic has been there since I was a kid in this town. The population of that area has expanded beyond, and it's still the same polyclinic. What kind of developmental planning do we do?
Well, the last administration under Buruburu upgraded polyclinic.
Enugu upgraded polyclinic, and I'm telling you that the population between when it was upgraded and now is almost 7 years. If you understand hospital facility management, you know it is a steady thing. Health is wealth. That is why you have proliferation of private clinics milking the Enugu of their hard-earned resources, because the public facilities that were provided those services are wanting. And it requires, that's why when Oliko Erason Kuti was the Minister of Health in the government of President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, he focused on primary health care center. Before you come to a tertiary facility, that is a critical issue. Things like malaria, typhoid should not take you to Park Lane.
Isn't that why the current administration is building these 260 smart type 2 primary health centers at the world level?
They are building. I'm telling you, 566 are in comatose. So we'll be waiting for when it is completed before we get health attention. That means we'll be dying. As it's still being built, those selling coffin will be making business.
No, they didn't close the 566.
I am telling you that I'm telling you 47% of them are not functioning. The ones that are, in fact, the ones that are fully functioning, since the world statistics, is around 12%. Fully functioning as a primary health care center. You can do your research.
Out of the 566.
I say you can do your research. It is my word against your own. Do your research and do your finding. I want to be a little bit courteous, but you want me to give you the full. So what is functioning is 12%.
All right, let's talk about water in Enugu State. I mean, one of the major things that he promised Enugu was providing water from when he started to at least 180 days, you know. But he has also come up to say that there are challenges. He has acknowledged that there are challenges, and they are building on some of the things that they have done, changing the pipes, you know, and also doing reticulation to people's homes, as the case may be. So one would look at that and say, well, at least for the meantime, we are seeing some development in that direction. What, you know, past administration have refused to do.
Water problem in Enugu is very intractable. It's been there for about 25 years. The problem of water in Enugu is not the problem of science. Neither is it a problem of engineering. It's a problem of not having the will to run it. Chimaro Kendamani, when he became a governor, tried by trying to solve any water problem, but he couldn't. The one fundamental thing he did was getting the federal government through CGCC to do a heavy revamping at Oji River waterhead. Olusegun Obasanjo came to Enugu and commissioned that project at the twilight of his administration. There came in Sullivan Chi. It was not solved. Sullivan Chi came in, tried his best to revamp the Enugu water project, go to Oji River and actually water works. A lot of money was frittered away in Enugu water project, because then you could see pipeline being laid everywhere. But unfortunately, again, some things happened in his government and we did not have any water. Buruburu came in. Some funds available that would have been given to Sullivan's government by a World Bank was inherited by Buruburu. He tweaked it out of normal, just like the way he normally do his things. It was designated a greater Enugu water supply. Some of the pipes found its way to Nsukka. The World Bank complained. We said Enugu, this is not Enugu. He said Enugu and Nsukka are the same. They allowed the pipe went there. It's still there. And nothing happened in Enugu water. Entered Peter Mbah. He knew. Part of the reason why he became a governor was that this issue of water. In Obara school on that fateful day, maybe by prescient ability, he said, I'm going to give you people in 180 water in 180 days. And we say, if this man is going to give us water and ended up not doing any other thing, we are going to 14 years. But unfortunately for us, it is still an issue of conjecture. we don't have water because we assumed that he did a thorough job. In his campaign, he was talking about downstream, midstream, and upstream. That Ajali can give us 50 million cubic liters of water. And Doji will give us 70. With 120 million that Enugu is good to go in water. But unfortunately, he came in, started telling us stories that he's going to exhume the old pipes, that it's difficult, this and that. No! As a professional, you bring in consultants that have done a correct Enugu water mapping. The crash thing he did at 9 Mile collapsed in his presence. Doesn't he know what to do? It's an issue of reticulation and having a booster stations. Enugu, a city on the hill. There's a distance water will not go beyond. You need to boost it. You start from the nearest point in Peninsula, GRA, New Haven, around Ajali Waterworks and Oji. Then you boost to other areas. After you must have done a thorough Enugu water architectural designing. Enugu has expanded beyond the old Enugu everybody used to know. To supply one day and Gariki, you have to go through a Titingwo from that hill. It will supply even to Akebubu. Supplying from that point to Ababa, Emene, will be challenging. You do a water harvesting around Nike Lake. Ada River will come to the rescue of Ndi Enugu. Designing of this thing alone will have taken 1 year. Not talking about to execute it. The job of a governor is to execute. That's why they call him executive governor. After detailed planning, you execute. Water corporation is underfunded, under-equipped. They give it to them. They have tested water engineers that nobody has given opportunity to work because of the volume of water, that is money that is involved in water. They have over 17 billion naira voted into Enugu water, but they don't have water. You must excavate those pipes. You must do thorough reticulation. Before you do it on the ground, you must do it on paper.
Because I know we saw, Charles, we were all in Enugu, we saw where the water, after being powered from 9th Mile, that's the 120 million tons now, we saw where water started flowing, but then the pipes started busting. So it wasn't like the intention to give them the Enugu water was not there.
Don't give excuses for bad performance.
It's not excuses.
If you are coming, if you excuse me, you saw it because he refused to do the needful.
Before you execute any project, you must do mapping. He claimed that he has done a thorough job. When he was delivering his manifesto at Gov Mbah University, he made it clear that he understands all our challenges. In fact, that was why he brought a white man to be in charge of any water corporation. Who say hallelujah. But now they are giving you excuses why it's failing. We've always known in this town that the pipes are old. You must design it, and before you excavate, you need booster stations. You need professional water consulting engineers. They are not in short supply in this town, I can tell you about that. Those that can do that are in this Enugu that worked with water corporation for 20 years, 30 years. But unfortunately for us in this town, he's a man that believes that he knows everything. And knowing it has brought us to this point. Do you know the economics around water in this town? An average household in Enugu spends 20,000 naira a month in water. Those that are above, they spend almost 50,000 naira a month. Hotels in Enugu buy at least in the minimum one tanker of 50,000. Times 30 is 1.5 million naira because somebody somewhere refused to do the needful. And people are spending household income they will have saved for something someone promised is going to provide, and 24 months down the line, he has not provided for it, and we are giving him, he's giving us excuses, and we are aiding in the excuses that at least he busted. Busted is showing a sign of high level inefficiency. He said that he's coming with disruptive innovation. Do you know what is innovation? Innovation is to enhance efficiency, to improve underdevelopment, and to to help mitigate against unemployment. It is in a positive manner. That is what disruptive innovation means. But unfortunately, what we are seeing is destructive innovation. An average person in Enugu now is poorer 24 months down the line than he was when this government came on board.
Right. I mean, there's a whole lot that have been spoken about development, and the very recent one is the Enugu Air. A lot of persons have commended the governor for the very first time in the history of Enugu State. We've seen an Enugu Air that would boost tourism. Persons have commended him, but it's a bold step, even though it will cost the government some huge amount of money. But then it's something that opens Enugu to the world.
It's always a pro-rich policy, opening Enugu to the world. But the Enugu person is hungry, opening Enugu to the world. Taxation is killing in the Enugu, opening Enugu to the world. You don't have hospital, opening Enugu to the world. You cannot even do a small business in Enugu, and you open Enugu to the world. You talked about tourism. What tourist sites do you have in Enugu? Name them. What has the government done to revamp it? To make it really a tourist center, like other governors are doing. I don't want to mention governors. You try to align this thing. You don't just do it as a standalone thing. Why would you want to do Enugu Air? Lagos richer than you does not have Lagos Air. Kano richer than you does not have Kano Air. River does not have Rivers Air. Akwa Ibom that have Ibom Air. Donald Duke has deepened tourism. Do you know how much Donald Duke sunk in Akwa Ibom? Ababu. It was a deliberate program. He built standard hospital in Akwa Ibom. He changed Akwa Ibom from a sleepy village to become a town where Super Eagles plays international tournaments. That is a deliberate, intentional act to bring people into your place. To make it possible, he has to connect it with an airline. It's not for showmanship. That's why nobody complained. They make money in tourism more than anything. And you went and did Enugu Air. You don't have the airline operating certificate, we call AOC. You are not the owner of the aircraft. The aircraft was as a result of wait lease. Do you know how much you are paying in a wait lease? Enugu is losing $1 million almost every month because we leased an aircraft for showmanship. Enugu Airport cannot even sustain itself by itself. The passenger traffic in Enugu Air is 530,000 per annum. For you to break even, you must do 5 to 6 million per annum in the aviation industry. What are air travelers coming to Enugu to do when you've not done the needful? You must prepare the ground very well so that people will begin to come to your city. And those things are there from Ezagu to Aneri to Babinimbo to everywhere. But it requires a structured, organized arrangement. It becomes there. Then you could not be able, we have Igede dance. What have they been able to do with Igede dance to export it to the Cannes Festival in France? There are a lot of festivals around the world. We are known for masquerades. We are known for Gene Festival. Can't we organize a Gene Fiesta in Enugu here? Push it across the global community and they'll come to Enugu and listen to Sumeru's Ogene song. Then we interpret to them what Ogene is talking. Ogene does not just talk anyhow.
Well, I don't know how much time we have left.
That is what that's what talk about tourism. So it is not properly connected. So it is a colossal waste of Enugu people's resources.
You're saying you're not commending that effort?
No, it was. I said
as a breakthrough.
With that aircraft is an Embraer airline. An Embraer aircraft carries 75 people. Now, 3 million people are clapping for 75 people on the air. For doing what? Do you know how much a ticket costs? Flying from Enugu to Abuja is 120,000. Coming back is 240. Your hotel bill in Abuja is 60,000 a night. Sleeping a night is it not 300,000? Do local runs from airport to wherever you're going to Abuja is 30,000, 330,000 with 500,000 for movement. That is salary of a very big guy in this town.
But then it's going to bring employment opportunities for.
No, which number? You have met over 10,000 people to lose their job by demolition. And how many would an aircraft, how many people would that aircraft provide jobs for? Answer me. How many people with one aircraft will provide job? Do you know running airline is one of the most challenging things? Are you still seeing Okada Air? Where's Chanchangi Airline? Where's Sosoliso? Trias Airline. Why do you think a billionaire, one of the richest people in Enugu State in Nigeria, his airline collapsed? Trias Air. Why is it not running up till now? Go and ask United Airlines and the APs. Do you think running an airline is a child's play? Meanwhile, you don't own the airline, you don't have the certificate, and you are in a business.
So why do you think the Minister of Aviation, Festus Kayama, would have been full of much, praises, commendation for the governor when he came for the commission?
If you say you want to kill yourself and you decided to die, I will help you to die.
So you're saying
I've answered your question.
You're saying it's a deception.
You wanted to die, and you made up your mind to die. Will I talk you out of dying? The projection, return on investment is 60 billion in 4 years. That means 15 billion every year. Meaning 1 billion every month. Ask yourself whether if that airline has been able to get 1 billion last month.
Well, there's a whole lot really, because this particular hour will not be enough. But let me just finish off by asking this question. Do you see anything good in this government?
Well, that's a hard question. Something good, I need to really think. Well, they tried by digitization. You give it to them, especially mobilization of revenue. That's okay. Anyone does well, I'll give the person kudos. But somebody writing work and 9 subjects and passing 1, the person is bound to repeat.
Let's leave it here. I want to say a very, very big thank you to our guests today. This program has been in collaboration with concerned people of Enugu State, with an insight into the 2 years administration of Dr. Ndi Peter Mbah. Well, thank you. We're back again for another special edition. I want to say a very big thank you to our guests who has been able to unpack some of his observation in this current administration. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, my friend and co-anchor, Chris Adebogu. I mean, it's been a fantastic one with you.
Wonderful being with you, Charles.
All right. So until next time, see you. I'm Charles Pius. Take care.